to the podcast where we talk about all the things that are hidden in the shadows.
This is Isaac.
And this is Megan.
And on this bonus episode, we're joined by Liv and James from Send the Booze podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys, how you guys doing today?
We're very well, thank you.
Very good.
I've literally just got out of the shower, so I feel clean, I feel cleansed.
Well, we were on our campaign almost this year to try to get as much podcasts we want. A few other podcasts besides yourselves asked us if we would do a episode swap, which we said that we never did before, other than I think with Total Conundrum.
Yeah,
we did with them, and you guys are doing it with us. So we were like, it's a new concept for us, but we like the idea. So, but what is your podcast all about for people who don't know?
Oh, shall I go?
You go.
Hello there. So our podcast is called Send Booze, and basically the premise is I'm a believer. James is sort of a skeptic.
Mm-hmm. I haven't had anything happen to me, so I think I'm going to have to see something until I'm like, yeah, it's all real.
Yeah.
But I don't mess around with it.
You're very like Ouija boards.
No.
I love.
Not for me.
No. We're going to hear them. And every episode we dive into like a certain topic, be it poltergeists, urban legends of certain countries.
Aliens touching people's butts.
Yes, which we haven't discussed yet.
No, we haven't had any alien stories yet, but I'm waiting for them. And when they come, we're ready.
And then every episode at the end, we talk about a viewer or a listener's sent boo. So experience that they've had, and we talk through it about them. Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time. It's a good laugh.
Yeah, I could send you a good 50 stories.
That would be fantastic.
When we run out, we'll give you a message.
Yeah.
And I would still have a lot more. And that's just me. Megan, of course, fills out the other giant side of the novel with hers.
Oh my God.
But no, it was interesting. I always like to know about more paranormal podcasts out there and stuff like that. But why did you guys choose specifically the paranormal to talk?
It's something that we've been together 15 years now.
Mm-hmm.
We've always loved that kind of spooky side of life. I definitely get it from my grandma. My grandma passed away 4 years ago now, and she was very spiritual, loved the paranormal. I'd often walk into her house, she was making her own Ouija board. So that's when you know shit's about to go down.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So I get it from her, definitely. And we were told, we've wanted to do this for years, really.
We just didn't know what about. And then you were going to you used to do it on YouTube on your own, didn't you? Send Booze?
Yeah.
And you were like, I want to turn it into a podcast. And I was like, I'll be like your producer off camera. And then we bought 2 mics and now I'm here.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. When involving yourselves in the the paranormal world, do you guys consider yourselves spectators or do you get into the game?
We've never had the opportunity to really delve into the game yet, which is kind of sad. I'd love to, more than anything, dive deep into the world of the spooks. But you're like...
Yeah. As long as it doesn't come into our house, I'm fine.
I always ask because a lot of paranormal podcasters I've talked to, they're like, I like talking about it, but I don't want to experience anything personally. I don't want to go get touched or grabbed or pushed or anything. So I always like to ask.
Yes.
So,
no, definitely more spectators.
You're saying that I'd love to get touched. Not in the butt, though.
No.
Just putting it out there.
And how long is the podcast going to be going on?
October last year.
Yeah, so not very long at all. We're already on like episode 20. This will be, I think.
Yeah.
Next one will be.
Oh, right.
Oh, the baby.
Yeah. We started around the same time with in 2020. I think June of 2020 we started.
Nice.
Yeah, with the pandemic, but most podcasts did at that time. But we were able to survive outside of it.
Yeah,
fantastic news.
A lot of people stopped as soon as lockdown finished, and stuff, they were the real ones carried on.
Yeah. Do you guys have a favorite subject to talk about? That always recurs on your episodes.
Oh,
I'd say more like ghosts, spirits, things like that. We seem to go more towards those kind of stories, don't we?
Yeah, I would like to talk about more about demons, to be honest, but that shit is kind of scary.
Yeah.
All right, that's kind of us.
For that.
No, we dabble with cryptids and aliens and sometimes conspiracy theories, but no, we keep mostly in the paranormal world.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I guess the topic that we discussed, I really want to talk about urban legends and stuff like that. There's some urban legends from the UK that I've heard that I want to hear your guys' perspective. Because I know there's some that we have that we lived with that's like old news to us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When I hear when I hear cryptids from the UK, there's not cryptids, sorry, urban legends. There are things that I want to know about. Like one specifically, the Beast of Bodim.
I've heard of that.
I haven't heard of that. Where does he reside? Where's he based?
I'm assuming Bodim. It's apparently a giant black cat creature kind of thing that stalks the woods around that area.
Oh, that's cool.
That sounds nice. It's just chilling.
Just a big old cat.
It's a nice big cat. Yeah. My mum's got a cat and he's pretty fat, to be fair, so maybe it's him.
He's just been put on a diet, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, yeah. He needs to be on a diet. Bless him. Poor thing.
What about the Highgate vampire?
Oh,
yes.
I've heard of that. Is it in Glasgow? I think it's in Glasgow. Yeah, we talked about it on the episode about vampires.
And there's one around Birmingham. There's one around Birmingham.
Although we're from Birmingham in England, by the way, if you can't tell from our accents.
Yeah, but the horrific accents we have, we're from Birmingham, UK.
Birmingham is voted the least attractive accent in the entire of the UK. So
yes.
We're sorry.
Yes, we're very to your listeners, we're very, very sorry.
I thought Essex would be up there with the worst kinds.
People seem to like that one.
Yeah.
TV shows about it.
Yeah.
No Birmingham TV shows.
Well, to be fair, there's Peaky Blinders.
Oh, true, actually.
What information on the Highgate vampire did you guys ever find out?
There's
Get your notes now.
I had notes all about it.
He always comes prepared, James. I just roll out of bed and crack on.
I want to make sure it is the same vampire I'm talking about.
Notes, sir. Damn.
No, I haven't got the notes.
He has the questions he has for you are pretty good, to be fair. I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
Maybe for the next podcast on that one. But no, my notes about the vampires have gone, unfortunately.
Yeah. But the one that I hear the most, and I've heard on several different podcasts, is the hairy hands of Dartmoor.
No, haven't heard of that.
Are we the worst UK people ever?
Apparently.
Yeah, do you?
But there must be things like that we hear about in the US that maybe come over here but aren't as big over there.
Maybe
it's the same.
Well, I always heard about. I mean, I've heard on several podcasts, but also associated with other podcasts talking about the we call it hands that come out of nowhere, right? Like floating on their own. Apparently, in Dartmoor, there's a highway that you're driving your car. Hairy hands apparently have come out from nowhere and grabbed the steering wheel and try to drive you off the road and like slam you to a tree or something. Like a lot of people have experienced that.
Jesus, we need to stay away from Dartmoor. I don't even know where that is.
Yeah.
Did you say they were hairy hands?
Yeah. They're talking about big, hairy hands come out and grab a steering wheel.
Bigfoot hands.
Oh, I mean, thank God I don't drive, because that would just terrify me. The idea that I'm just driving, mind my own business, just having a nice drive, and then some hairy ass motherfucking hands just goes, burp? No.
How would you even explain that to like insurance companies or like
literally what you put on the form?
These big hairy hands just popped out of nowhere. Sounds like a state
You've been
farm
drinking,
commercial.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to test you for drugs.
Yeah.
But no, there's other like disembodied hands from other episodes. People talk about seeing one come through walls and like from other dimensions. It's been a phenomenon amongst other things, but the hairy hand to Dartmoor is one like on top of the list when you talk about disembodied hands coming from like the walls or from underneath the ground or something like that. But
they come from your own legs. Like, how are they going to grab the steering? Where do they come from?
It from what I read and the stories I listened to, that it says like they pop out of nowhere. Like you be driving, all of a sudden you look down your steering where you see these two hands like kind of like moving yours out of the way and grabbing still and trying to pull you off the road.
Oh.
Like you don't know where they're coming from. Like there's no body connected to them. They're like, two things in there.
And they're hairy. Specifically, they're hairy.
Yeah, that's what they say. They're hairy hands. I'm like, great. I mean, I have hair in my hands, but not like you wouldn't say I'm like a regular Robin Williams or something.
He was a hairy man.
He was a hairy man. R.I.P.
The other one I heard about that was intense because it reminded me of a legend here. Well, not here, Pacific in America, but Mexico. But one you guys have called the Black Shuck.
I've heard of that.
Have you?
I think I've heard of
No.
that.
A giant black wolf kind of dog thing with eyes of red that haunts the fields of England in the wintertime, like only specifically the wintertime it comes out.
Sounds like the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Yeah. Is it like the Mexican version of Chupacabra, is it?
No, well, there's a legend in Mexico called the Cadeo, which is as a white wolf and a black wolf. And if you see the white one, it's mostly trying to prevent the black one from attacking you. So it loses you around. The white one's a good one, the black one's the evil one. But when people have seen the black wolf, big giant dog thing coming around, it always gives a sense of evil. But when the white one shows up, it literally tries to push the black one out. It has some ties to Haiti and Scotty, or Scotty, Haiti and Scotty. The Nordic legend of the one wolf that chases the moon, one chases the sun. It kind of almost coincides with that kind of legend. But when I heard about it, I was like, "Holy crap, that's running around in England."
Oh God! So is there a white wolf as well in England, or do we just have the black one?
No, you just had the black one. They remind me
Wonderful,
of
Okay.
great, yeah.
No
great.
good dogs here. Great.
Great, no, fantastic. So we're all gonna die. Wonderful.
But one of the others that I heard about, because I've heard the name before in punk songs, but I didn't know it was actually a UK urban legend, Spring Hill Jack.
Oh yeah, that's is also called Drunk Jack,
Are you thinking of
the pumpkin one.
No, that's Jack-o'-lantern. That's it. That's
Not the same thing.
I don't think so. Is it? It's the guy who. Is it why jack-o'-lanterns are called jack-o'-lanterns? So it's completely different.
No, that's the American legend.
With
I forgot.
Dublin Island.
It wasn't Spring Hill Jack. From what I read, apparently he had like bat wings and he can jump really high. Like you usually see him around graveyards and stuff like that.
Oh, I've heard of Spring Hill
That's just
Jack,
James when he's having a good time,
Yeah.
you know.
but I always thought it was linked to the Jack-o'-lantern one.
No,
No.
so
Mixed
he has.
legends.
I love how you're telling us these urban legends, and we've heard none of them.
No?
I looked up like UK's most popular urban legends, and these are the ones that came up. And I started finding other
What
stories.
website were you on?
I think we're finding out these guys are veterans of the game. We're newbies. Okay.
But we live
So-
in the UK
I know, but I mean of the paranormal.
of the paranormal.
So we're going to absorb everything we can from you and learn from
like
you today.
sponges.
This is a lesson today, not a podcast.
Yes.
Well, what's urban legend that you guys like know like the back of hand? Like if you heard since you were kids.
There's all obviously Nessie, Loch Ness.
Nessie's a classic.
My family's Scottish, so I grew up around Nessie. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
What other,
Pablo.
I don't know what other big ones there are.
I'm trying to think. There are a few in Birmingham, but I'm trying to think what they are.
I feel like we more had just like, I don't know if he's got this over in America, you know, like the one about Marilyn Manson and his ribcage.
Oh yeah.
We got
I was
a lot
call
of
it
kind of
a legend more, just
yeah.
just gossip and stuff like that.
Myth.
But no, I remember
sorry,
that one.
yeah.
I'm trying to think.
There's lots of them in like Ireland and stuff.
I
And,
thought you said Ireland, like you're from Ireland.
and I'm not. But English ones always seem a bit more boring.
Yeah, I think there's just like there's often the one about like a woman. There's one about a woman who is covered in blood, and she walks along this particular road, and if you see her and stop, she kills you.
She gets like a hitchhiker.
It's like a hitchhiker thing, yeah.
Mm.
And my friend told me this as we're driving down a country road, and I fully shut myself, thinking, "This is how I'm going to die." Wonderful. But we just come back from a horror film as well, And she was like, have you heard the urban legend about the woman on the road? I was like, no, what? No.
But that is to remind me of a better question. Better, not how many, but what was like your most impactful paranormal experience that you guys experienced by yourselves?
For me, it was, my grandma was making her Ouija boards as per usual, classic Saturday routine. And I went round to see her. She's there, playing with the glass. I'm like, for God's sake, Grandma, you're gonna welcome a demon in a second. So I joined in. Now, my grandma had horrific arthritis. Like, her hands were like crab claws. And as we're moving the glass, it suddenly has like this massive force. And there's no way my grandma could have done that because, like I said, claws.
You're just too weak to physically do it.
So, I mean, her hands, God bless her, were fucked. I looked at her and I was like, are you doing this? And she was like, la 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 la, minding her business. I don't think she realised that it was moving. I don't think she was touching it properly. But I was like so aware it was happening. And it made me want to do it again more, but I'm not allowed to in the house. It's really sad.
You do it outside the house, just not inside the house.
In the hallway.
Yeah. Oh, I've never had anything happen to me.
You haven't, no?
No. Nothing I can even be like, oh, maybe that was something. I don't think so. Like, no.
I've often, like, 'cause my grandma passed away in 2020, I have lots of signs of her around, like so many signs. Specifically, there's a song, it's Bob Marley, Three Little Birds. I've heard that so many times when I'm having a bad day. It's in the weirdest scenarios as well.
Sing it to her. That's what
I just sang, yeah, she probably hated that part. I'm a terrible singer. But it was really like, I can be in like, the supermarket by us called Tesco. So I'm in big Tesco, minding my own business. And that song will come on. And I'm like, I'm just buying my ex-grandma, like, leave me be.
it normally comes on in a moment where you kind of need
I need to hear it, yeah.
Doubting yourself or you're having a bad time.
Yeah.
You'll hear that song and you're like, okay, it's grandma's kind of.
Yeah, it's a nice thing, yeah.
That actually happened. My mother, she lost her sister. Her sister was murdered. And
I'm so sorry.
I don't know, but she has the same thing. There's a specific song that she hears that she would bond with her sister over.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll be randomly in like a Walmart or a completely different radio station that wouldn't be, because it's like an 80s song that wouldn't be
a new song. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it wouldn't be playing on that specific radio station because it could be like a rock station or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it'll come on and it's like real poppy, So yeah, so I've experienced that as well with her because we were in the middle of like Walmart and never heard that song before. I've been shopping at that Walmart for a long time. And then exactly like you said, when my mom like needs to know, like, my aunt's around, everything's going to be okay, that song plays. So
I think it's lovely. It's really nice. It's a nice way to know that they're still around. Like I truly believe that you'd like, even though they're not physically there, spiritually they're always there. Mm. Whether you like it or not, they're there. I think it's really nice to have that reminder that, even in the times you feel so alone, they're still looking after you.
Yeah, not my personal experience. My experiences have been far more different from most people.
There we go. Here we go.
That's for another time. When it comes to the urban legends we have here, which ones of you guys are most fascinated with the American urban legends? Like you've heard and like that doesn't make any sense. What are you guys talking about?
I think we hear the big ones like
I personally love the Mothman. I want to see that fucker so bad. I know there's a statue of him. I don't know where it is, but the statue, he has abs. Why does his statue have abs?
But no, yeah, there's literally podcasts dedicated to Mothman. There's we have a few friends with him. But no, I've never particularly seen the Mothman but myself. I saw the movie when I was young, right? Mothman Prophecies when that came out.
Oh, I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah. But the one that's new that I was looking up, like American Urban Legends, Slenderman.
Oh, yeah. My guy.
I think the internet has brought a lot into, and I don't know if this is a thing you guys have ever heard about. If like the the public belief in something could almost make something happen. Does that make any sense?
Continue on.
Like, I don't know.
almost like manifest an entity.
Exactly. That's the
There
word I'm
we
trying to
go.
say. Like, say this thing didn't exist before, but because there's a kind of a zeitgeist, I don't know the word I'm thinking of, but if enough people talk about something or
Yeah.
believe something,
Yes.
could it possibly, that
Manifestation.
power, make it happen?
I love Slender Man. I think, this is just me, I think he's a very attractive guy.
Lizzie's weird. You can see where she's into her skinny tall men.
I just think he's a man in a suit. He's clearly over 6 foot.
Takes care of his appearance.
He just wants to have a chill. I think this is fantastic. I think we got a thumbs up.
Yeah, that comes in randomly, and I don't know why.
It's Slender Man. It's Slender Man.
Yeah,
He's like,
Never happened to me on a Zoom. You guys have, yeah.
it's Slender Man. You're welcome, Slender Man. Don't worry about it.
I'm assuming it's the government listening, and they're just thumbs up, like, oh yeah, you're close, you're on the story. There we go.
Is it because I'm doing a thumbs up?
But no, did you know that I don't know if you guys have heard about like the missing 411 with like our national parks and stuff like that. And one of the things that they connected with some of the stories of these random like kids that go missing from like campsites and weird happenings at national parks is that a Slenderman, I say it like it's a last name.
Yeah, John Slenderman.
Mr. Slenderman.
John Slenderman. See.
But that they have like kids that obviously went missing and then were found have said that there's an entity that's similar to Slenderman that they've seen while they were kidnapped, essentially,
Jesus.
or taken off to a spot.
So the question is, was the Slenderman game influence the Slenderman creature, or did the Slenderman creature influence the Slenderman game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of, did they just see the creepypasta and make a game out of it, or had someone experience that
Yeah.
and then wrote the creepypasta and then made the game? Yeah.
You guys have much better urban legends there than we do here.
Considering we're a much older country, you think we'd have more?
Yeah, we have a weird dinosaur that lives in a lake. And you have
Much
Mothman and
larger
Slenderman.
country. So there's more space for these guys to be running
We're
around.
very jealous. We're very jealous.
The one that we have here that I don't know North Carolina, but South Carolina, has the boo hag, which is kind of the boo hag, which is, it's essentially a hag. They say it's only for us, like but the twist with the boo hag in South Carolina is essentially the old hag story, is that it's a grotesque old like witchy looking lady that will sit on your chest when you're sleeping and absorb your life force out from you. But the twist in the South Carolina legend is that if you wake up while it's happening and try to fight back, you'll turn into a boo hag. Like they will make you one of them.
Ooh, it's contagious.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing, and I want to be a boo hag.
I think one of the most prevalent ones over here too that gets talked about a lot is the black-eyed kids legends.
We have that in Cannock.
We do.
We have that in Cannock. Like, there's actually the same legend.
There's an area near us outside of Birmingham called Cannock Chase, and there's the blue-eyed kid,
The black-eyed children. Yeah.
Of Cannock.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it.
So what's the legend over there?
So the legend over here, and the creepy part is people around our area, in particular because we live near a military base called Camp Lejeune.
Mm-hmm.
And they apparently have seen it on the military base, and that base has like crazy things that have happened. It's just insane. But apparently, like they'll come up and they'll say like they need something, like they'll knock on your door and say, hey, like I'm cold, I need to call my parents. And, the person answering the door says like they have an intense fight or flight feeling and just like a bad feeling in general, like don't open the door. Majority of people don't open the door, and they say like it continues, like the knocking, like let me in, like I just need this. And it's, some people have even said that Men in Black are connected to
the black-eyed kids.
Yeah. Like that when was it when the kids were let in, right?
Well, the famous story that we have here happened in the 1950s, I think, or something like that, with this family, and the kids came to the door. They had their faces down. There's a boy and a girl around the same age, like 7 or 8, and they asked, "Can we come in and call our parents and stuff like that?" And then the father, for some reason, got like a massive headache, like he couldn't stand. He was dizzy, and he started bleeding from his ears when the kids were there. But he noticed that the kids had black eyes, and he said, "Do you need to make a call?" And the kids then looked at him and said, "No, our parents are coming for us now." Right. And the mistake, people will say, never let him in, never let him in. But this couple let him in and sit on the couch. And then all of a sudden, like men with sunglasses and suits, right, showed up, said, "Oh, we got him." And they opened the door and the kids went into the car and like they left.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think with ours, it's the same kind of thing where like there's always young children with black eyes. Knock on the doors and they'll be like, can we come in as well? And it's specifically like, it's always like if you're driving as well, they'll be on the side of the road.
They'll stop you.
And because you can't see their eyes with the flat, like the headlights and stuff, you'll pull over and think, "Oh, it's a child. Like they must need help." And then they kill you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kill you? Jeez.
So
This one, they don't give you headaches and stuff. They just kill you.
it's Canic Chase, the man.
They've all people around here, apparently.
They just brutally murder you. Children as well.
And the one, because me being growing up Hispanic and Mexican, I always had the urban legend told to me when I was young about my parents would teach me, or at least I don't know if they use as scare tactics to keep me from getting in trouble, but was like the chupacabra, La Llorona, and then my mom she'd always say, "Don't go in that back room over there. The cucuy's in there."
Cucuy.
What's that?
Boogeyman, essentially.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, La Llorona was the scariest one I ever heard when I was a kid, because my mom explained to me, saying, if you hear a woman crying in the outside, don't go to her because she'll drown you in the river. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go out.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
That's terrifying. Mm.
Isn't that because she drowned her children?
Yeah.
Or her children were drowned, yeah.
Mm.
Well, you guys have the same kind of legend called a Wailing Maid or Wailing Mare or something like that. It's in Ireland, I think. It's a it's almost the same exact story.
Yeah.
Woman of the Lake.
The Woman of the Lake, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. So the story that kind of happened multiple places. I wonder who
Basically, if you hear a woman crying, just ignore her.
Yeah, well, no.
Well, you know what I mean.
Well, I don't know if it was 2021 or 2019. I can't remember the exact, somewhere between there. Some guy in Mexico did a prank on an entire village by going down the street with a giant speaker playing a vocal tone of a Mexican woman crying in Spanish, "Where are my children? Where are my children?" Like La Llorona.
Oh, God.
Right?
Terrifying. Amazing, but terrifying.
Yeah, like a loudspeaker running across the street. Let me hear tu camino.
Oh my God, that is iconic but terrifying.
Yeah, I saw the video. I was like, oh, dang, you're getting a lot of people with that one, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to go outside now.
Ever again.
Lockdown number 2.
Yeah.
With your guys' podcast, you guys have done a lot of interviews?
No.
First one.
Oh,
Oh,
but I'm not talking with us. If you guys bring people on, have you guys brought people on to interview?
No.
No,
The
you are
first
first
people
one.
we've had on, well, we'll have on the next episode. No. So the
Yeah.
first people we've
You're the
interacted
first
with.
peeps, yeah. How'd you feel? You feel honoured?
Well, let's do with that question.
How
I
about
was
you?
gonna
You
ask-
had a lot of people on.
Interview, like, well, this one. Yeah.
This is the first one.
No, we find with talking about the paranormal, we've been doing it for a while, but the whole reason we kind of started was because our experiences. So we want to talk about, plus our conversations at the end of the night were always weird. So we kind of just created our own from that. But
Oh my God. Another couple who has weird nighttime conversations.
Mm.
There's nothing I love better than when James is about to fall asleep, asking him the weirdest questions.
I think there's more experiences they had during the day, not if I was a worm, would you love me to?
But that, yeah, just want to know.
But we find with the more that we've gotten into the paranormal, the more things happen to us. But do you find it like after you guys talk about a certain subject, some weird of feelings or like almost the energy changes in your room when you guys are recording?
The light.
Yeah, at the end of the last episode, I can't remember what we were talking about.
I'll find out.
But it was like the moment we said something like, oh, that will never happen or whatever, the light, which is literally above us, just flicked once. And we both just kind of went, okay. And then we ended the podcast and I didn't realize we were still recording actually. And we were going, that's so fucking weird. And then it flickered like twice again. And we were like, okay, what the fuck? We need to get out of here.
It's about Ouija boards.
We were talking about the story she told you just about your grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about that, weren't you?
Yeah, the light flickered. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
hello. It's not like
It's never flickered before.
But we live in quite a new build flat. So there's no way it could be haunted.
No.
Unless someone has
It's
come
literally,
in.
this building got built like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's strange for England. Most of the stuff's very old, but this is a very new building. But yeah, that's the only thing I've ever had.
Also, we have a ghost.
For audio listeners, it's a ghost plushie.
I was like, what are you looking at? That's cool. I have a little light up Boo Ghost from Mario.
Oh, nice.
I bet your house is like amazing. I bet it's spooked out.
I'm just trying to see what's on that shelf behind you.
Oh, that's not my doll collection.
Aw.
That's Megan's grandmother. We live with her at her home here in NC, and she's 88, so we're kind of helping out with a lot of things.
Yeah.
But that's her doll collection. People have asked when I've done interviews, are those dolls haunted? I'm like, no, I've made very sure that they're not.
Yeah. How about you? Do you find after you've spoke about something on an episode that it's kind of inviting that?
I think with myself, having certain abilities and stuff like that, in the psychic realm, that certain things will actually stop me from talking about things. Because I also, when we like talk about certain subjects, I'll throw in what I get from it. Like if it's a location, because sometimes when I research, I channel, I just automatically do it, and I'll write down like what I get and share it on the podcast. And there have been times where the stuff, like when I channel, the best way to describe it, especially in the very, very beginning when I didn't have a lot of control over everything, it was like I was putting a fishing line out and sometimes spirits would follow back on the connection. And we actually had a couple times where I channeled so hard into a location that we had a spirit follow back and was leaving EVPs on the episode.
Yeah, that's another thing too. In the beginning of our podcast, we had a lot of EVPs. Have you guys caught any through you guys noticed when we were recordings that you might have like a voice in the background? Some other podcasts have had it.
I edit the podcast. I haven't heard that yet, no, but that would terrify the shit out of me.
I imagine.
Yeah, and
Best thing ever.
Once I started protecting and like learning about protection and stuff like that, then a lot of the EVPs died down because I was able to like put a kibosh on
Stop it all.
Things coming through. And then Isaac, with his ability, kind of helped that out too.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I asked is I've noticed with some other podcasters that they theorize talking about a certain subject or talking about an entity particularly might draw them in. Like they're hearing, oh, someone's talking about it, and they're gonna go see what it is. And because I've heard other podcasts like they're talking about something like a demon specifically, maybe the Ouija board demon Zozo, and all of a sudden like things start happening in their location where they're recording. Like, guys, I think we should stop already. They're getting freaked out.
Oh, great! So we've got Zozo in the flat now.
Yeah.
What? It just reminded me. Why did your grandmother make Ouija boards?
We don't know. Back in the day, my granddad passed away the year before I was born. So she started using a Ouija board to try and contact him. And my mom and my mom's brother would do it with her as well. It was like a family affair, you know. Some people have game nights. They had Ouija board nights. You know how it is. And that's how it started. And then my mom banned Ouija boards from my grandma's house because she was like, I don't want you contacting spirits when you're on your own because it's not safe. So she resorted to making her own out of paper.
That's one way to do it.
I've heard lots of people do that. I don't know if that would work the same, but
Yeah, it does.
Well, we've had our own opinion of Ouija boards, and it's not. We always tell someone it's unless you're doing it correctly and know how to properly handle it. It's only one way you can get away with it without having any kind of consequences.
Yeah.
But I've always told everyone, I've always told everyone it's not essentially the board itself; it's the act of what you're doing. You can make one out of cardboard, and get the same results.
I remember one time in high school, a couple kids started making one in class. I don't know why the teacher was like, "Oh yeah, just go ahead, just do our thing," So they were doing it, and my mom was, because she had her own like crazy, like more of a dark-natured encounter with a Ouija board. My whole family, like down the line, has tested Ouija boards, and some of them have had like really bad experiences with it. But so these kids were making the Ouija board, and stuff came through, and I kind of sat on the sidelines because I was like, oh my god, if my mom found out, if I had to go home and tell her, I was doing this, she would yell at me. So I managed to I had my headphones in because I didn't even want to hear like what they were talking about, because I didn't want to channel, because at that time I had abilities and stuff and I didn't have control, and I just didn't want to like tap into that. So they got a name, and I went home and I told my mom about, that these kids were doing a Ouija board in class, and she was like, "You didn't do it, did you?" And I was like, "No, but I was weird. I heard this name and I kept repeating it throughout the day. Like I kept hearing it." And she goes, "Well, what was the name?" And I told her the name, and she goes, "Holy crap. That is what came through when I did the Ouija board with my friends years ago." So she's like, "Stay away. Like if they do it again, leave the room." So,
whoa.
That was just handmade too. That was like just on a sheet of notebook paper that they used.
Yeah. So it's just the ritual of doing that as opposed to the actual apparatus.
Because obviously it's like a toy, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like made by the Monopoly company or something. Isn't
it? But you just make your own. It's the act of doing it that not safe.
What advice would you guys have? Because I know you guys are just starting out too, but we've always talked about our advice with people when they start a podcast out, or even the paranormal. But what advice would you guys have for people just wanting to start out in podcasting?
Oh, you're pretty good at this. You like your podcasts.
I listen to some. I think it's consistency, which we need to get better at.
We've only missed one.
We've missed one because we were both really ill.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's consistency. Like you said, a lot of people started them during lockdown, and then by the time they were allowed to go outside again, it's given up. So yeah, I think for any kind of social media or anything that you want to do, it's consistency, because the algorithm likes that. We've been trying to use like TikTok and Reels and stuff a lot more to like promote it. That's why we normally do record a video of the episode, even though we don't put a video out, just to use for clips and stuff. We will probably eventually use a video form. I say it's just find something that you're passionate about, that you feel like you can do lots of episodes on. I find if you've started on something like, we're kind of into that.
Yeah, you need to find something you're really passionate about, because it'll come across well.
Yeah.
If you just talk about something you're not really interested in, but it's doing well like elsewhere, the passion won't come through very well, and you'll know that it's not genuine.
Yeah.
I think the whole point of, especially with my social media stuff, is just be genuine and be authentic. It will come across really well.
Let's say we've only done like 20 episodes, so don't take it.
What do we know? What do we know?
But you started the process. You guys, got out there, you made media, you made the episodes, you took the time. So you guys are putting the effort into to join the, I would say, oversaturated paranormal podcast world. Podcast world itself oversaturated, but paranormal community, it's doing. I always tell if you're gonna join something that's already been done, either be the best at it or be different from everyone else.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you're gonna stand out with just being in with everyone else.
Yeah.
Which is
what makes us so nice is that it kind of becomes a bit unhinged. because you got off on so many tangents that we start talking about 5 different subjects at the same time.
Yeah, it's not always paranormal. We could start talking about something else completely.
I wouldn't say it's particularly like scary. It's more kind of just, it's almost like comedic.
Yeah. So some of the times we'll be reading story stuff and we're just like, that's actually pretty fucking scary.
Yeah.
And we try and make it a little bit more lighthearted. Not saying like we're making light of the whole thing. But yeah, that's our kind of.
I like to be able to sleep at night. Yeah. Basically, if I get too scared, it's game over for me. Okay.
As much as we love horror films and talking about this stuff, we still want to go to bed and get up for work tomorrow. So. That's like listening to your guys' podcast. The fact that you guys have experience within it as well, that's what I found so fascinating. Because a lot of people talk about things on podcasts like we do, but the fact that you can guys go, "Oh, that reminds me of the time I went to this house and did this," and I was just like, "Wait a minute, what?"
we were in the car one night, and he was like, "You've got to listen to this podcast because they've got abilities." I was like, "What do you mean they've got abilities?" He was like, "They've got abilities." I was like, "Oh my god, we haven't got abilities."
I remember one thing I always say is that we have experience with most things we've talked about, but not everything we talk about.
Yeah.
But I guess that's from what makes us special is that we can have perspective on things that stories we read and then we're like, oh, okay, that's reminded me of something that happened to me, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
From cryptids, from ghosts, from demons, from hauntings, from poltergeist activity, everything underneath above in the paranormal world. But something that remind me when we do your guys' podcast, talk about the fae folk that I've encountered.
Okay.
Write down.
Notes and
write down immediately.
You guys carry on speaking. I'll add that.
What's the most recent horror film you guys watched? You talk about horror films? Or like what's the most recent?
The best one we just watched was Talk to Me.
Talk to Me?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's by the Rekka twins on you.
Yeah, it's on my list. It's on my list to watch. I was gonna watch it. I actually the other night, I think it was last Thursday, I made a decision. I was looking at that, and I looked at When Evil Lurks.
Oh yeah, is that good?
Yeah, I would say so. I was like, I heard people say, "Oh, it's like scary, it's intense. Oh my god, you get wild." I'm like, all right, let me check it out. Because I've seen Hereditary, and I'm like, that to me is like top tier when it comes to.
That was good. Have you seen Hereditary?
No, I haven't.
That's really good.
But When Evil Lurks, it's like it was made in Spain, I think, or not Argentina. It was made in Argentina, and all the languages is in Spanish or Argentine Spanish, and the whole premise is that it's in a world where demons possess people, but they use the vessels that they possess to generate an entity from it. Like a child will be born from somebody, and it's not essentially possession like it's jumping from body to body. It's like a disease. Like if you come in contact with what they call a bloated, it'll like the disease will attach to you, and then you start becoming influenced by demons as well. And it's like
affected by the demon.
Yeah, and you can't if you shoot them or like kill them with like to conventional weapons. You're basically just helping it release faster.
It's always horrible when they give them like in the films and stuff, just like, oh, by the way, you can't kill this, otherwise it just makes it stronger. You're just like, oh, fuck them.
Yeah, well, I'm fucked.
Yeah, it was a pretty intense movie because some scenes were like really fucking gruesome, like out of nowhere. Like I didn't know you were watching, like also like that just happens. You know.
There we are.
What's the best horror film you've ever watched?
The one that scared me the most when I was younger, and I was like 16, 17, was of course what I'm wearing right now, The Exorcist.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Right? That one because it was like they made us in the 60s when I was watching it. And some of the scenes were like way past from the time, so that was like that's something not normal with that.
Yeah, it's all the practical effects and stuff just make it really cool.
She walks back like a crab.
I would say maybe not the best horror movie, but the movie that had like a lasting like holy crap thing for me was probably the Blair Witch Project.
Same.
Because I watched that really young, and my parents tricked me because I was like, I'm old enough to watch horror movies. Like I got this in the bag. Like, don't, And they go, okay, well, this one is actually a documentary. Let's see if you could get through the documentary first, and then we'll let you start watching horror movies. So they let me watch it. And Yeah, I literally for the longest time thought it was a documentary, and
Literally same.
Because I got
was
told the
terrified.
story of the Blair Witch Project without watching it. I was at like a Cub Scout camp, and some kid just explained it to me like it was almost like a folktale. He didn't tell me it was a film. So I was in a tent in the middle of the woods while they're telling me this story of the Blair Witch Project. So I didn't sleep that night or the next
No.
night. And then it was literally like probably a few years later, everyone was like, oh, have you seen this film, The Blair Witch Project? And I was just like, oh, fucker. You got
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny is that movie came out at a time when the internet was just starting to born. There were no message boards. There were no Facebook. There was no social media whatsoever. So the movie spread by word of mouth. And even I remember when I was in shit, I was middle school. Yeah, middle school. And when my friends told me he watched, like, dude, this movie came out. There's people, they found the film, Paramount made it, or they found the film in the woods. Well, these three people that got killed in the woods or a witch. I'm like, what were you talking about? Like, it's fucking scary, man. I don't know what's going on. Like, I never was able to go to the theaters and watch it because I was too young. My parents like, nah, you're not going to go watch that movie. But every impression I do of my dad, I do in his accent. So he'll sound like this when he talk to someone. But I remember I finally came on DVD, it was DVD. And I watched it and I was like, holy crap. I was like, it was freaking me out. I was watching it the whole entire time. I think my brother watched it with me. He's like, was this real? I was like, I don't know, man. Like, that can't be real, right? That was at a time like, was it real? Is it not? We don't know. And they're really showing this stuff. But funny enough, there is a movie that I have been looking for years. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it or ever saw the preview for it. I forgot which horror movie I was going to watch. I want to say it was Rob Zombie's Halloween. Or I watched it in theaters. I remember my brother watched it, and they had a trailer for a movie where a serial killer, a murderer, found footage, like first shot, would film himself killing people, like killing women. Like I remember one of the scenes where he was chasing this woman in her house, and he was recording it, and he finally caught up to her, and you can see him like literally trying to kill her and stuff like that. And I was watching it, thinking to myself, and they talk about, oh, these films are tapes put together by a famous serial killer, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and I thought to myself, are they really going to this point of horror where they're actually using real footage from people being murdered? Yeah. And then I never saw a trailer again, never saw the movie again, never heard anything about it. Never. The closest thing I have to it sounding similar is the Portuguese tapes. There was like, it's a real like, put together. People say it's like the scariest thing ever, like the Portuguese tapes. And I watched it. I was like, "Is this what I saw?" But that Portuguese tapes came out in like 2010 to 2000, no, not 2010, like 2013, 2014. And what Rob Zombie film was like 2006 or 7. I can't remember when. Yeah. But I was like, that can't be it. But that was the closest reputation I could find from it. And what that movie was called and where it was, I don't know. I feel to me like I saw something maybe from another reality and it's bleeded in. And I just saw that trailer and now it just disappeared like a we call it a Mandela effect or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The Mandela effect was always fucked me up.
Yeah.
It's also confusing for me, some things though, because I grew up both in England and in California. So there's some things that I think are a Mandela effect, but it turns out it's just the branded different in England and America.
Yeah.
So.
James will also, it's very Brummy, but still says American words.
Yeah.
Which American words?
So I think it's things like vitamins, sidewalk, things like that, or just in an American...
Crash, elevator.
Yeah. Because I grew up in America when I was in like first grade. So I was born in California actually, but then we came back with my mom when my mom and dad got divorced. But then I'd lived here for 6 months, there for 6 months for like a little bit of my childhood. So I think at like that age is when you're learning words. It kind of got ingrained in me, both ways of saying it.
It's just very funny as a very thick Brummy accent. He'll be like, "Do you mind taking the trash out?" And I'm like, "The what?"
Yeah.
You mean the rubbish?
That's funny. I guess if you were talking to someone there, they might think like, "Are you American?" Putting on an accent.
Where are you from?
Yeah. Always gets a bit confusing.
Well, guys,
I say tomato. We say tomato.
Tomato.
Tomato. It all depends on where you're from. I was gonna say, all right, guys. We have more time for your guys' podcast. That's I suggest people to look up for it. We're gonna wrap it up here with you guys. Where can everybody find you?
You can find us on TikTok, Instagram at SendBoozePod. And if you have scary stories, I'm just going to promote us now. If you have any scary stories to tell us, if you have any aliens touching your butt stories, if you have any demon stories, send them to sendboozepod@gmail.com. We'd be very grateful.
On Spotify, Apple Music,
Amazon Music,
all the places where you can hear podcasts.
Yeah, send booze. Check us out. Or not. It's up to you. We're not bothered.
Mhm.
We don't need you. We do.
Well, just from talking to you guys, I can see you guys have great personalities. So I would endorse it when I go listen to you guys' stuff, hear your perspectives on the paranormal for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. But for everyone else, as always, guys, you can catch our social medias at Hidden the Shadows Podcast on Instagram, Hidden the Shadows 6 on X, Hidden the Shadows Podcast 2 on TikTok. For links to all our social media ways you can listen to us at hiddenshadowspodcast.com. And as always, catch your widows the next one.
Yep. Did you let me say yeah?